Okay, everybody, this week we're going to be drawing textures. All right, so as you can see here on my page, I've drawn out 3 squares. Okay, now my squares are a little bit bigger than the assignment calls for because I wanted them to be very clear on this demonstration video. The assignment calls for you to make squares that are 2 inches by 2 inches in your sketchbook and fill those up with textures, drawing textures. What I have here, these are actually 3 inches by 3 inches. Like I said, just for me, I'm working on a bigger sheet of paper for more clarity for this video's sake. But so I'm working a little bit bigger. If you want to go bigger, you can. Not a big deal. Okay, and also what I have here, and you can see I'm using the photo reference photos from our Moodle file, which has 6 textures in it. They're bark, woven mat, let's see, leather, some grain, fur, and concrete. So what you need to do is you need to pick 3 of those and try and replicate those 3 in these squares as best you can. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started on this. I'm going to probably be using my go-to pencil, which is an ebony pencil. That's what I like because it allows me to blend a little bit, but also it's got a hard enough lead that I can add detail. Okay, so let's speed this up and get through this. I'm going to start with bark, then probably move on to I don't know whichever ones I decide on. Okay. Okay, so that pretty much takes care of the bark texture. Now, the thing is, you may have noticed that I did quite a lot of blending here, and that was to reflect the texture of the actual, tactile feeling of the bark. Because what you're going to have when you look closely at the texture is areas of light and dark, and that's where the light is actually reflecting on areas that are a little higher up. And there's some darker areas where there are cracks in the bark and all of that. So those are dark shaded areas, and then areas that are a little higher up and a little lower, and then just a lot of little like sort of flaking almost. So if you turn your pencil on the side and just sort of like move it around, that will simulate that kind of texture. So I think that worked out pretty well. The main thing you want to keep in mind is it's still, even though this is a texture, it's still light and dark. Where's the light falling, and where are the shadows? Okay, so like through here it reflects, where the light is coming from and all of that. All right. Next square, I think I'm probably going to do, I don't know, leather or concrete. I have to decide. All right, so let's speed this up again. Okay, so that was the leather. Now you'll notice that both of these textures so far have been organic. Okay, so with organic things, there's a lot of sort of random stuff going on. So if you want to deviate a little bit from the photograph, if you get a little bit off all the detail that's in the actual photo, it's not that big of a deal because it's all pretty much true to what the texture is. With leather, you got to think about the fact that there's, this is an extreme close up. So all this little pebbling and all that sort of stuff, these are all wrinkles and creases, and it's all light reflecting on the higher parts of the texture. Okay, I mean, leather is essentially just a hide or a skin that's been tanned and and treated and dried out and stuff. So it's going to have that, that organic quality, all the wrinkles and creases and all that sort of in this case, a lot of pebbly stuff. That's what this leather texture is. It's a very sort of rough leather, rough looking leather. Okay, compared to some really smooth ones, or that sort of thing. All right, so there's still one more to go. Okay, and I think with this one, I will probably go with concrete. There's a kind of an interesting, fairly cracked reference photo that to me is a little more interesting visually than the other things. So let's get to work on that. Okay, so that takes care of the concrete. Now, the concrete, as you'll have seen, is also an extreme close up, and it's cracked, and it's very very rough. Okay, so yeah, there's all these little cracks and crevices and little pock marks and imperfections in the stuff. And again, it's light working on that creates the visual texture that we have here. Okay, so all right, to sum up, yeah, the assignment for this week, pick 3 of these textures. There's 6 to choose from, and you can just put them all on the same page if you want. That's fine, like I have here, and try and replicate those as best you can. It has a lot to do with attention to detail. Like in this case, there are a lot of little cracks and little crevices and imperfections. Okay, not just the big cracks through here, but all these little things, all the little, like here, there was this little sort of imperfection thing that the light is kind of bouncing off of, and cracks along here, and how the light kind of, this area is darker than that area, and all that. A lot of it is light. Some of it's just the nature of the concrete. It's got areas of light and dark because of the the water and all that was used in it. If you've ever poured concrete, you know what I'm talking about. All right, so I'll talk to you guys later. Okay.